On the bitterly cold night of Christmas 1945, in Fayetteville, West Virginia, a horrifying tragedy struck the Sodder family. Their warm home, once filled with the laughter of children and the joy of new toys, suddenly transformed into a hellish inferno. George and Jennie Sodder, along with 9 of their 10 children, were basking in the festive spirit, unaware that a sinister force was lurking outside, waiting to devour their happiness. At 12:30 a.m., a sharp, chilling ring shattered the silence. Jennie jolted awake, her heart pounding as she walked through a strangely lit house. Lights still on, curtains wide open, the front door unlocked. Who had done this? With a growing sense of dread, she answered the phone, only to hear a spine-chilling, maniacal laugh on the other end, as if the caller were mocking the family's fate. A strange voice asked for someone who didn't live there, then the line went dead. Trembling, Jennie locked the door, drew the curtains, and tried to shake off the feeling of being watched, but the darkness outside seemed to whisper threats. Less than an hour later, a loud thump echoed from the roof. Something heavy had landed, rolled, then vanished. Jennie opened her eyes, convincing herself it was just an animal. But then a sharp, acrid smell filled the air. Smoke. A demonic blaze erupted, engulfing the house in a scream of burning wood. Jennie cried out, clutching Sylvia, shaking George awake in terror. They burst from their room into what could only be described as hell on earth. Thick, black smoke and searing red flames consuming everything. Jennie did a frantic head count. 9 children were supposed to be home, but only Sylvia was in her arms, and Marion had fallen asleep on the sofa. The other 7 were still upstairs, where the flames now roared with deadly force. George raced to the phone to call for help, but the line working earlier was now dead as if cursed. Jennie screamed for her children through the smoke-filled stairwell, eyes stinging, praying to see a glimpse of them. John and George Jr. came stumbling down, hair singed, yelling that they couldn't reach the others. Now only 5 remained trapped. Maurice, Martha, Louis, Jennie and Betty. No cries, no signs, just silence swallowed by fire. George ran outside into the biting cold, searching for the ladder. Gone. The truck, fully operational the day before, wouldn't start, frozen in place like it too was under a spell. The rain barrel was frozen solid, useless against the laughing flames. Standing helplessly in the black of night, the family watched as their home burned to ashes. The fire department arrived 7 hours later, too late to save anything. No bones. No traces. The flames had consumed all, or had something more sinister stolen the children away? That haunting question would torment the Sodder family forever. After the fateful Christmas night of 1945, the Sodder family was left drowning in grief and unanswered questions. But the ashes of their home didn't just hide remains. They exposed chilling secrets that convinced George and Jennie that their 5 missing children, Maurice, Martha, Louis, Jennie and Betty, had not died in the fire. Something far more horrifying lurked beneath the surface, and the darkness began to reveal eerie clues. It all began when George discovered that the phone line hadn't burned. It had been deliberately cut, as if an invisible hand had severed their connection to the outside world. The missing fire ladder was found tossed in a bush behind the house. Someone had moved it on purpose. Then came the memories, the trucks that mysteriously refused to start, though they had worked perfectly the day before. The loud thud on the roof just before the blaze. These were not coincidences, they screamed conspiracy. Jennie remembered the lights still shining as the fire raged, contradicting the official cause of an electrical short. From deep within, a chilling word surfaced: arson. Suspicion turned into obsession. George and Jennie began to dig into their past, searching for enemies. A strange man had once come looking for work and pointed ominously at the fuse box, warning of a future fire. A mysterious car had been seen watching their children from a distance. Then there was Nick, a former associate who had threatened the family after George publicly criticized Mussolini. Every memory now seemed laced with menace. But the most horrifying moment came when little Sylvia, their youngest, found a firebomb, a pineapple-shaped incendiary device, in the yard. It was undeniable proof. The fire had started upstairs, not near the fuse box as police had claimed. Whispers from town made their blood run cold. A bus driver reported seeing someone hurl a fireball at the house that night. A waitress swore she served the 5 Sodder children the next morning, accompanied by strangers in a car with Florida plates. A woman at a Charleston hotel claimed to have seen 4 of the children with a group of cold-eyed adults speaking Italian. Were their children still alive? Had they been kidnapped in a twisted act of political revenge? The police were indifferent. But the Sodder family refused to stop. They hired private investigators and plunged into a maze of truths and shadows, where every clue led deeper into a nightmare. Grief and suspicion drove the Sodder family into an endless pursuit, but each new clue only dragged them deeper into the darkness of the 1945 mystery. Refusing to believe that their 5 children, Maurice, Martha, Louis, Jennie, and Betty, had perished in the fire, George and Jennie braved every horror, facing twisted revelations along the way. A chilling rumor spread. Fire Chief Maurice had once discovered human organs in the ashes, hidden inside a wooden box. Hearts pounding, the family dug up the memorial garden and sure enough, they unearthed a box. But inside was not the remains of a child, it was a fresh cow's liver. A cruel hoax. Maurice later admitted he planted it, claiming he only wanted to help the family accept their loss. The heartbreak was overwhelming, but hope still flickered. A private investigator looked into Nick, the man who had once threatened the family and had suspiciously increased the home's insurance policy before the fire. Even more disturbing, Nick had served on the panel that ruled the fire an accident, an unbelievable coincidence. Yet the prosecutor refused to investigate, as if the entire town was complicit in covering up a crime. By 1953, desperate and determined, the Sodders erected a massive billboard along the roadside, displaying their children's faces and offering a $5,000 reward for any information. Letters poured in from across the country. A girl in New York, 2 men in Texas, and a photograph from Kentucky claiming to be Louis, all whispers of hope. George and Jennie chased every lead, but each one dissolved into nothingness. Even the final private investigator they hired vanished without a trace. As the years passed, the mystery of the 5 Sodder children hung in the air like a curse. Did they die in the fire? Were they kidnapped? Were they still alive, somewhere? The truth remained buried in the shadows, leaving George and Jennie in eternal torment, haunted by the most terrifying question of all, not knowing.